I had no clue how much stuff I was carrying around in my head until meditation helped me open that door.
Yes, and thank you. Thank you everyone for being here today and taking this time to give yourself time for healing. This today's topic, we're focusing on loss, and then the following days we will also take some time to focus on loneliness. And maybe one of those topics was a little more appealing for you, something that brought you here today. But I think everybody here is very open-hearted. I feel like everybody already has opened their hearts, and really that is one of the prerequisites for healing itself. So as we are here recovering our mind for true healing and the power to really heal, especially from a loss, it takes reflection. I think one of the major steps of grieving, of loss, is actually reflection itself. And we have an incredible meditation practice to truly learn how to reflect and to be more objective in your mind so you can heal and create a new beginning that you really deserve. I think in any loss, it is, in a sense, a chance, an opportunity for a new beginning and a new growth within yourself, too. And the power of the meditation and why we meditate, it is an active process of cleansing and releasing the past. And since they are all pictures in our mind, we release them so our burdens can lighten and healing can begin. And by releasing the pictures of even loved ones, it doesn't mean that we will lose them. Actually, it's releasing the attachment, and that will naturally free up your mind, will allow more gratitude to be able to grow within you, which connects you to that true mind that you have within. So, as we meditate, observing and letting go of the past memories, and even sometimes, I think, even as Cara was sharing, a lot of, maybe the mind is very complicated. There can be so many different feelings of, can be guilt, grudges, or sadness, or maybe I feel like I'm doing something wrong. All of these things are kind of things that we're holding on to in our mind, this emotional weight. And that is really what we need to surrender and be able to heal. And so meditation is all about a process of self-reflection, seeing what I have inside my mind, seeing what kinds of thoughts have been stored, and letting them go. I know for myself, I had dealt with a loss of my brother who was in a serious car accident and he was in a coma for a year. And I always felt like very guilty to be smiling. Anytime I smiled, I felt guilty. I felt like I shouldn't smile because my brother is suffering so much. And I just felt like it's wrong. But I had to realize at one point, it's not helping for me to continue to be this sad, to be this, it's not going to help anybody around me if I continue to be holding all this emotional weight. And I realized I have to let go, even letting go of that guilt, letting go of my sadness. And then maybe I could actually help somebody feel better. If I feel better, maybe I can, help somebody else feel better too. So, and it helped me to also go through this process of letting go. Sometimes even we had some ability before, like a capability that we had that we can't have right now, and then grieving some loss of that, letting go. And actually, that is the beginning of healing too. Yeah, when we can have acceptance in this moment. I'm going to invite you now for just this moment to relax your body and mind, close your eyes, and we'll take a couple deep belly breaths, breathing in down to the lower belly, letting everything go. Now, at this moment, let's take this moment to really change our perspective, to be the observer, what I'm holding on to in my mind. what I feel I have lost in my life. It could be I lost my confidence, or I lost something, a family member, a friend, a person. There are specific events that pop up regarding it and feelings. And now at this time, as they come to mind, continue to gently release them.
So it starts with setting good intentions, right? Having that loving kindness for yourself and also others. So just letting everything go we just did. But now we're going to hold the feelings of love, the kindness, warmth, affection. It'll all wash over you. And now we're going to send one wish to ourselves. So each phrase, I'm going to say it twice. You can quietly repeat after me. May I be healthy, happy, and loved.
Be happy and loved.
May I be happy, healthy, and loved. May I be safe and protected. May I be safe and protected. May I be fully alive and free. May I be fully alive and free. May I experience inner peace and ease. May I experience inner peace and ease. Now we're going to send well wishes to others. You could visualize whoever that you choose, or you could send all the well wishes to the whole world, if you wish to. Okay? For each phrases, I'm going to say twice. May you be happy, healthy, and whole. May you be happy, healthy, and whole. May you have love, warmth, and affection. May you have love, warmth, and affection. May you be protected and free from fear. May you be protected and free from fear. May you experience inner peace and ease. May you experience inner peace and ease.
I was so impressed with Maria's approach that I have continued as a regular participant. Neil, Maria, Evan, Deb, and Veronica have made a profound difference in my life. I feel the camaraderie with the group that inspires me every session. I have found hope and my purpose. My grief will never leave me, as my love for my Mitchell never will, but I'm now able to move forward. I have realized by helping others, I have also helped myself. Thank you all very much for listening.
Thank you so much for
Beautiful,
sharing.
Cheryl.
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, we now know so many people in the US, in this country, are suffering from loneliness. So what can I do, to extend a hand and maybe say hello, maybe give somebody a smile who's walking by? What can there be that I can also do? Because yes, maybe I'm going through a hard time, but actually the moment that I can do something for another, it's like lifting your spirits 100% often. Actually, when you extend your hand, even if you're going through the hard time, if you can extend the hand to another. Yeah,
We don't even know the smallest thing we do could have a big effect on somebody. Could save somebody's life, possibly. You never know.
Today, we'll do a little bit of journaling. and taking some time to release attachments and recovering our true nature. And so, steps of releasing is becoming aware, and past losses or loneliness remain stored in our mind, and it makes us difficult to really move on and heal. So, understanding that letting go doesn't mean about forgetting, but it's the action that so then we can live more in the present moment and also have more appreciation and peace. So, our journaling exercise today is about a letter of release. And we're going to kind of, if you're someone who's kind of going through dealing with loss, there's some prompts here about loss. And then if it's something that you're going through is loneliness, there's going to be prompts here about loneliness. So I'm going to read through them. And then we're going to take some time of writing a letter to release. The meditation process is important as we are shifting our perspective. And sometimes we can be really caught up when we are suffering with any loss or loneliness. We can be really caught up in our mind. And I think Neil was mentioning something earlier tonight about we need to come out of our minds. What is out of our mind? Sometimes we use that expression, you're out of your mind, like you're going crazy. But it's not meaning like that. It's ultimately meaning come out of the mind, come out, shift your perspective. And knowing the ultimate true perspective, something our great meditation teachers always mention, think about the death. Like, even we don't know when we are going to die. But if we can see that if this universe is a place that is going to live forever, the universe, the sky, is actually always in existence. And so knowing this existence is the true existence. And that's also, meditation is kind of shifting our perspective to the universe. If I'm dealing with the loneliness, there is the times and the lonely thoughts, lonely feelings. Being that objective observer, as if I'm watching from the point of view of the sky and looking onto even myself that was feeling that loneliness and releasing it out. Continuing to let go, releasing the thoughts, the emotions, everything that came up. Even myself that held on to that, letting it all go. So, yeah, great job, everybody. How did it go?
I feel a lot better since I've been throwing away lonely thoughts about stuff that's happened recently, and I think I feel happier, which is a good thing.
That's great, Patrick. Thank you for sharing.
Welcome.
Right? So, in terms of the brain and loneliness, what we have found is that it can really alter brain structure and function, right? So those three areas that I have mentioned, with the prolonged loneliness and stress associated with them, you really could change the brain in those ways, right? You're going to see some increased inflammation, right? And reduced neurogenesis. Neurogenesis has to do with new neuron growth, right? So think about it. Within your body, okay, there's constantly some regeneration of cells, constantly until adulthood, right? So with this kind of acute stress, you're going to see reductions in new neuron growth, right? So you have all cells dying, right? But it's not being replaced, right? Which really means that there will be shrinkage that's going to happen to your brain. It's a little scary, right? We call it brain atrophy, right? So when we have persistent loneliness or stress, okay, such as grief, can really affect your brain, right? So obviously includes those three areas that I already mentioned. But overall, what we found is that the actual brain weight is reduced. Another thing is the cognitive decline. Okay, what we also notice is that people have poor memory, really overall poor cognitive function. Okay. All right. So they have hard time making decisions and they don't really understand why they feel a certain way or how come they can't remember certain words, or things to do sometimes. Right. Another thing is negativity. Right. So there is an increased sense of negative bias. So even when there are positive things happening, people perceive it in a negative way, which is very interesting, isn't it? So rather than focusing on what's going on in a positive way in your life, the tendency to focus on more negative social cues. And even if things are positive, they interpret it as very negative or threatening even. Okay. So those things are what we notice when we do our research. All right. Just want to share with you some actual research studies that I have done. So we're looking at meditation because a lot of research studies talk about how effective meditation is for your brain health, really. So using our actual meditation method of cleansing the mind, these are actual workshops we had done. This was done about a year and a half ago. This was done just 1 hour, right? And this was done for a company. Okay, which company it was. But anyway, so we asked them before we did any meditation, what is your level of anxiety, stress, and depression, right? And you see before meditation, very, very high percentage of people said they have some to severe anxiety, stress, and depression. After meditation, look what happened. Isn't that amazing? It's such a dramatic change. I use this quite often. All right, so same amount of people. It's just amazing how this is, but this is very much realistic. It could happen. Really, if you are, really focusing on cleansing your mind, this can be happening, right? So anxiety went all the way down to about 15%, no stress, no depression. Isn't that amazing? Just really dramatic change, very significant. And this was a 2 weeks meditation boot camp that we did. And we measured their sense of happiness before and after meditation. So 1 week before we started any boot camp activities, which is really centered around meditation, we asked them, what is your sense of happiness? So these are people who are members who have been meditating for some time. So these are lower level between level 1 and level 4. So we asked them, and what they said was the sense of happiness was the green bar there, neutral, not particularly happy or unhappy. They're okay. Nobody was, unhappy. Nobody was super happy, right? But this was more in the middle, right? So you see that orange bar is moderately to pretty happy, right? So what you see before versus after, you see a dramatic increase, right? Up to 80%, 85, almost 85%, who said they're moderate to pretty happy. That's pretty significant after only 2 weeks of boot camp, right? So these are intensive boot camp. So people who voluntarily enter the boot camp, they did meditation every single day. In addition, they had some activities to do on their own as well, right? And then checked in every day. So as far as their attendance in the boot camp was very good, and this was result. Just really phenomenal, right? And then we did another 2 weeks meditation boot camp. This was another center. This was in, I believe, San Diego center. We asked them about their life satisfaction, right? So this was also 2 weeks. So before the boot camp, okay, they said, well, they're slightly satisfied, the green bar, okay? So you notice before and after, right? The orange bar is satisfaction. So after boot camp, you see the orange bar shoot up to, it's like 86%, okay? So there was that dramatic increase from before to after. Yeah, you see, chronic nature of stress, whether it be because of, loss or loneliness, okay, can really affect your brain long term and really can affect your brain health, as well as your, other parts of your body, right? And we talked about heart and other organs that could be severely affected by stress. right? So it's very important that you meditate because research study shows meditation is what could help you with the negativity and the stress.
I was looking for a lifetime for the right thing, for my spiritual wholeness. And I've practiced many different things. I knew immediately that this was truth the very first time I saw and listened. And I think I've come a long way since I've been meditating. And I can't speak highly enough about it. And it's so rich. It's so all encompassing of all the different areas of one's internal life it are taken care of by this practice.
So if you have diabetes, please get treated for it. If you have heart disease, you're gonna get treated for it. You're not gonna just do meditation. You know what I mean? Kind of like that, right? So if you're going through some mental struggles, and if you feel that you need some psychiatric medications, by all means, please do, right? If you need to talk to a psychotherapist, certainly, right? Meditation will help you with achieving that, lessened anxiety and depression and so on, but you do need to be medically treated or for whatever conditions.
Today, I was going to share a little testimonial about how this meditation helped me get out of a lot of loneliness. And actually, it was probably one of the biggest struggles that I went through in my life, and that meditation really, really helped me with. So in my 20s, I struggled a lot with anxiety, with depression, and just an overwhelming sense of loneliness. And when I began the meditation, I realized how deeply rooted that mind of loneliness was. And it came up in such a way that I was kind of shocked. I really was like always feeling so much of that loneliness. And as I started to reflect on my life, I saw that actually that lonely feeling was not just something that had been in my 20s. It was really as long as I could remember from a very early age. And so when I look back on my life, I saw, I grew up with 3 brothers, and I also grew up in a neighborhood where it was a lot of boys, and I had boy cousins who were my neighbors, and all of my classmates, there was only 3, 4 girls in my class, and they were all boys. And I always felt like misunderstood. And I wish I had a sister. All I ever begged my mom to have a sister for me. But, and I wished I could have been a tomboy so I could fit in, but I always felt very naturally kind of very feminine and shy and very sensitive. And it made me always feel like I was out of place and very fearful. So I spent a lot of my time alone in my room. And my mom really didn't like me going out very much. So I just spent my time alone in my room most of the time. And it just always was the place where I felt comfortable. If I was alone in my room, then I wasn't really feeling uneasy. So out of habit, it was getting to be stronger. And as I look back through the meditation, I also realized that even in my adulthood, even as I grew to have more friends and a social life, and I still carried this deep sense of loneliness, and I had a tendency to isolate myself. When I spent time with people, I always needed a long time to recover and be alone. And I felt at ease when I was by myself. So I really didn't understand why, because technically I didn't need to be alone anymore. I had a lot of good friends. And even sometimes when I was with my friends, I still felt so lonely. And I felt like this always people don't understand me. So as I meditated, I could begin to see the roots of this pattern in my life. And I began to see the specific moments of my past that really shaped me and like really made me feel misunderstood and judged and unseen. And over time, as I continued to meditate and I saw like I had built so many walls in my mind and to kind of protect myself. And it blocked from building close relationships. And I realized it was a lot because I was always judging other people. And then I was always also very much judging myself. And I had lots of judgments about people. And I realized like no wonder I had felt like so disconnected to people because I was always, you know, actually putting the walls out. But as I meditated and little by little, with each session and meditation, I was able to let go of these judgments of others and of myself and letting go of all of that, like very much emotional self, very kind of shy, and a lot of these wounds that I held on to. The method really helped me be able to release all of those feelings and be able to experience, the life more fully and really get rid of all of the loneliness. And as that began to dissolve, and as I cleansed my mind, I began to feel more open to others and more relaxed. And I started to see that after those minds and judgments had disappeared, I really started to feel connected to people. And it was meeting people that I never imagined that I could feel connected to. And I really began to feel like anyone who was near me, I felt very like a familiar feeling. And I no longer felt like I needed to isolate myself. And the meditation like really gave them this like energy, like kind of recharged me. And my mind just started to feel more peaceful when being with other people. And I remember there was a moment that I realized like I hadn't spent a day alone for about 2 weeks. And I was so shocked. Like I hadn't even recognized like I didn't need a time alone. And suddenly that would have been completely unimaginable. Usually I needed almost an hour every single day, like recovering and being alone in my room. But I now could be with people, and now I would say I haven't really been alone for several many years since then. So, it's really a miracle that the meditation, not only did I just feel always endless loneliness, but I also made myself always be alone. And I realize now, like being together with others, being together with the world is the happiest. And that is the most joyful thing. So, yeah, I just really hope, nobody here is suffering from loneliness and like actually like getting this opportunity to spend this time in this class together and just like sharing everybody who could share something. I just feel it's a very healing thing. And, it's always take the time to connect to others and
Yes.
even share if you have a hard time, tell somebody you're never alone, that is a really important. Yeah. This mind of loneliness, transforming this mind and understanding loneliness, it stems from a lot of unfulfilled desires and emotional isolation. And the mind's false expectations creates barriers to connection, feeling unseen, unheard, or unacknowledged by others. The negative self-perceptions making it hard to open up or initiate a relationship, expecting relationships to fill an internal void rather than finding peace within. So these could be part of something that you realize if you've experienced loneliness. If it is loss or grief, you can recall, reflect, release the pictures that come up of past relationships, times that I felt lacking, or the thing that I feel that I'm losing. Letting go of the pictures. The more you let it go, the more your mind can accept. Keep letting go. So just as we kind of close, I think we have one more activity, but thank you for being a part of this journey. And remember, growth is a process, and be patient and kind to yourself.
So self-compassion, responding to our own suffering in a caring way. So our three components are self-awareness, self-reflection of suffering and struggles, recognizing the universality of common human experience. Struggle is part of life, and many other people, in fact, all other people struggle with something one way or another, right? Just like me. In human life, we all share struggles. So offering self a simple gesture of warm, soothing touch, hand over your heart, or caring response to yourself, just to kind of give yourself a pat on the back and recognition. Okay, thank you, everybody, and I hope you all do that for yourselves.
Thank you.
And thanks for coming. Great to see everybody.
Everybody.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank
Good night,
you,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Night.
Have a great night.
Night.
Thank you.
Bye, Merlin.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Rose.